All praises to Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Bakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on this, like me, a commentary, if you can call it that, on this video here by old Tommy Boy, Mr. Tommy Chops, right? The ultimate sniff head under the sun, Mr. Twitcheroo, right? Mr. I'm not a racist, I've got Muslim friends, right? This guy, like, he's clearly, like, man, this guy sniffed off his head, man. But anyway, forget even about that. This video was disgusting to watch because within this video, you've got this guy, Robinson, asking people that he believes are the real Jews what they think of the UK and asking them if they're ever going to come back to Britain. Now, if they are truly Jews, as he says and as he thinks they are, they shouldn't be in Britain anyway, according to if you want immigrants out. And that's how you can really see when they're all talking all this immigration stuff. It's not based on whether he was actually born in the country or not. It's not even based on whether he was a legal immigrant or an illegal immigrant. It's ultimately based on your skin color. Now, the fact that it is that is because they'll be quick to say, I'm not a racist. But when they're doing when you've got all these auditors and all these people going around and talking about all these migrant hotels and all of this stuff like that, right? And putting a camera in people's faces and asking people where they was born, asking people who they are, there always seems to be a certain image of who they're asking. But they'll have missed out on all the Chinese immigrants and all these people that have came over and doing things because they only care about the people that have got dark skin. And if there was nobody that had the dark skin color that they hate the most, then they'd be attacking the Chinese, man. And that's why not long ago in America, there was a time period where Moabites was getting ran upon and bammed in the mouth. They was getting boxed up in their mouth, man. Punched all over the place. And then Apostle Tahar coined the term the seas of the new ends for that time and that region, man. You had people pushing Chinese people away during the lockdowns if they cough or sneeze too much. People was looking at them like they're patient X out here. But you've got this video is sickening to see, man, because it makes it clear that this whole immigration talk and all that stuff, right, has got nothing to do with actually wanting people that aren't from the country to come out. It's all about skin color. Because they're talking about, I'm a British Jew and all of this, right? Mate, if you're a Jew for real, you're supposed to be living in the land of Israel. You're supposed to be living there anyway. And you're supposed to be the one that's going around the earth and having all the answers. You're not supposed to be wanting a president of the UK, a prime minister of the UK, or the president of America to be fixing the problems. You're supposed to be fixing the problems because you're supposed to be the light unto the Gentiles, according to what you Christianities want to push out, right? That's what they're supposed to be doing. But in this society, the so-called small hat, they just get the benefit. And them hats look stupid, by the way. And Moses never wore one of those. The dark-skinned so-called black man, Moses, would not have been wearing that foolishness on his head, man. He wouldn't have been wearing that BS. It looks stupid, man. That proves you're an Israelite as much as putting socks on your ears proves that you're an Israelite, man. Oh, I'm a Jew. Look at this thing on my head. Okay, I'm a Jew. Look at these socks on my ears. Like, that don't prove nothing. They're weeping and wailing over October 5+2. Oh man, what do you denounce October 5+2? Do you denounce? Nah, I don't denounce a date on the calendar. Because when it gets to October 5, right, I got to acknowledge that it's October 5th. When it gets to October 6th, I got to acknowledge that as well. And when it gets to any other day after that, I got to acknowledge those days as well, because they're on my calendar, mate. But this society, they're crying over these people. They're trying to make it like these people are actually the chosen, and it's disgusting to see. Because according to Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, right, the Israelites are supposed to be putting the laws across the whole earth. So they're supposed to be stopping all of these problems, but they're not doing it though. This guy shouldn't even really be asking nobody that's not, unless they're full British, anything about this. They should be saying that a Jew should be going back to their own country. But the point of this whole immigration thing is not really, the immigrants out. It's about getting brown-skinned people out of places, man. Anyone with dark skin color out. And then you'll have um, this guy Robinson going over and even asking people that and saying the same thing to people that got dark skin in Israel about asking them questions and that. But why you care? Because when you're telling people to get out of the UK, well, they gotta go somewhere, right? And then I'm gonna go to the scriptures, man. 1 second. I'm gonna get into the scriptures because, like, from the first moment I started hearing these Edomites crying about get them out, mate, get them this, get them that, I just knew that it was a corruption because people, like, let's say that you live in your area that you live in, right? You got a cinema there, you got 5-star restaurants, you got beautiful hotels there, right? You got beautiful women there, you got all the things that you could want in the area that you live in your city. You are not gonna even feel the need to ever come out of your city. You're gonna stay in the part that you live in the city. If all the shops, you got supermarkets in the place that you live, it's convenient to just buy everything and do everything right where you are, right? Now, if you don't have those things, you might hop on a bus, you might hop in your car if you got one, you might hop on a train, you might get a taxi, and now you're gonna have to go out further to go to that nice restaurant, to go to that cinema, to go to that supermarket, right? You're gonna need to travel further out to go and do certain things now, right? You're gonna need to travel out further. But if you had those things there, you wouldn't travel out further. So now let's forget applying that to supermarkets and apply it to countries. If people in their country had all the things that they have there and nobody had took them and set things up to where they steal these people's resources, or felt that, oh, these people have got resources there and they're not using them, so I've got the right to use them. If a person right now in the UK, for example, had gold underneath their house and did not want to touch the gold and wanted to just leave the gold underneath their house, they've got the right to do that if they want to. And at any moment when they decide that they want to use that gold, then they can. But you don't get to, because you want to use that gold, tell them, oh, you're not using that gold right. So I can I can unalive you off your land now and use that because you ain't using it properly. What are you on about? It's not yours to have the right to say that. But Esau has always wrote laws to make himself seem that he's right. And the laws that he writes have always been backed by every action that he's always did, backed by the sword, right? His blessings, the sword, but he'll write laws and make laws in his mind that only he really accepts. But then he'll force other people to accept his laws because of the sword. And that's why the main place that these Edomites spend money is always on weapons. The main thing that they always make sure that they can do is let their strength be the law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. And let's get to the scriptures, man. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Warn to them that decree unrighteous decrees. Right? Oh, this land should belong to Christians. I'm going to write a law and say that America now belongs to Christians. Oh, you see those people over there? Those Native Americans? Oh, they're the lost tribes of Israel. But the reason why I'm able to do these things to them is because they were sinning against God. But then now, if I say that, then that actually means that they deserve the land. And if they repent, they can actually receive something. So you know what? I'm going to change from them being that now. And now I'm going to say that these people are actually the Canaanites, and I'm actually purging them out, and now it's my land. And I'm going to write laws to make this be justified, but I'm going to back the law up with the sword. So, oh, you don't believe that that I own this land? Okay, I'm going to prove that I own this land by unaliving as many of you as I can until you believe the law that I made. That's how it goes. Because they talk all this, oh, you ain't got paperwork, well, back when Esau came over to America, what Ross Clark paperwork did they have, man? What paperwork did they have at that time? If the Native Americans would have said the same, you ain't got a paperwork back then, would Esau have said, you know what, you're absolutely right, mate, I'm going to go back across and go home? No, they would have pulled out the sword and did what they do. And Yahweh gave them the ability to live by the sword because he wanted them to do these things so that he can be justified in what he's going to do to them, which is ultimately Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18. But these Edomites try and focus on the current state of things now rather than the previous things that they did or the laws that they made to be able to go upside people's head. I was recently yesterday in the night, like about 2 o'clock at night yesterday, round about that time, man. Something led me to just search a few things up, and I ended up finding about something called amortization or front loaded interest, which is what's used on paying back mortgages or what's used on paying back car loans, right? And when I was researching and listening to what it actually is, and going through on the AI, which the AI is very good, man, for like taking 10 different ideas and mixing them all together. It's actually very good at doing that, man. If you want to take 10 concepts and actually try and be like, how are all of these things linked? That's one thing that this AI thing is very good at doing, man. To take several ideas and be like, link all of these things together. And the first thing that you ask it will link the second thing that you ask it to the third, to the fourth. It's pretty good for doing it, man. And after I did it, I was like, man, this society is corrupt. Because when these people get these loans, and it gave an example of a £300,000 house, right? And then after the 7% yield year over year that you pay on interest, right? You end up paying back roughly 718,000 total after if you're able to make the whole payment. But let's say you've paid £300,000 of your mortgage off from the total of the 718. You don't actually have £300,000 worth of the house, which you the way our ESOS views it is, no, you haven't actually bought the house. You haven't, in fact, you might not have even really, in his mind, according to his front-loaded interest or amortization, you haven't even paid a third of the house. Because they have a thing where the first initial payments, right? The first initial payments on the mortgage are like 87% towards the interest and 13% towards the principal, which is the actual amount of the house. Right? And it gave an example of how if you was paying $1,995 or pounds for the £300,000 property, right? The first 2,000 almost pound payment is going to only going to have actually paid £245 towards paying off the actual loan that you actually want, the actual house. So out of that house payment now, you only actually own $245 worth of that house, which what's that worth? Nothing. And then it would be about halfway through the 30-year loan. So 15 years in to where now of that £2,000 fixed loan, right? That £2,000 fixed loan, now you are paying 50-50. So now it's like £1,000 to the interest and £1,000 to the principal. And he sort of set things up like that to scam people, to guarantee that he can get his money back. And then after like 15 years, 20 years maybe, he'll have got his money back, but he owns the property anyway. Until you pay off and pay really almost sometimes twice the house is worth. But then if you don't, he's still got out of you some money anyway, and then he can still sell the house back anyway. And if he's lucky, he'll be able to sell the house and get a profit, or get someone to buy it for the exact same price as what you was going to pay, or for a little bit less. But then he's still got the hundreds of thousands of pounds potential that you've spent, the tens of £1,000s potential that you've spent, and the extra he's going to get now from selling the house. And then he can go and do the same thing again with another person. And when I was looking into these things, I was like, man, this is like, I don't think I'm that intelligent when it comes to maths. But because of Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, we look into things, man. And guess what? In the kingdom, we're going to do stuff like that to you heathen, man. We ain't going to go extreme like that because we're righteous. But we're going to put interest on things that we're going to do for you heathens, man. But we're not going to do it amongst each other, though. But Esau's such a wicked scumbag. He does it to everyone, even his own people, right? And then why is he able to do loans like that? Why is he able to do amortization or front-loaded interest? Why? Because he's got the sword. Because he's got the blessing of the sword, he's able to tell somebody, okay, you want that product that's worth £5. Okay, I'll buy that product for you for £5, but I want £20 back, and you're going to pay me £1 every single month. And then after now, that person's actually paid for 5 months, so they've really technically paid back for the £5 product, right? Okay, you've paid £5 of the interest. You've paid £4 of the interest and £1 of the original £5 that I gave you. Keep going, don't worry, you'll be able to pay it off. But then let's say it gets towards 12 months. Now they've paid £12 off, and now they've technically paid for the £5 product twice and 20%, right? Well, that would be 40%. But then now Esau is going to say, no, you haven't paid for the product twice because you still got to pay me £8 more, remember? So then if it comes to a point where now they can't carry on paying, Esau's going to take the £5 product back and maybe sell that product back to somebody else for £5 again, or sell it back to them for £2, or sell it to them for £2. So then that person that buys that product that was worth £5 for £2, they'll have made a £3 profit and might be able to sell it later for £5 himself and make £3. But Esau, who's the original person that bought it, he don't care because he made £12 from your stupid ass wanting a £5 product. But because you didn't have the money to buy that £5 product, for example, and I'm using these numbers because they're smaller to make it help make sense to people. Now, because you pay for that £5 product, right? But that you couldn't afford to buy in one go, right? Well, you had to do it then, because otherwise there was no way how you could have owned that. But then after you finally, if you actually are one of those people that are lucky enough to be able to pay off the whole mortgage or the whole loan, okay, congratulations, you paid in a £300,000 house property scenario. Congratulations, you've spent £718,000 for a £300,000 property. Congratulations. And then even I was taking that concept now then and applying it to the whole shared housing thing in London, right? And let's say that there's a two-bedroom apartment, a two-bedroom house in London somewhere, right? But an Edomite or a heathen takes that property, and because everyone wants to be single and these women want to be single ladies, he's like, okay, that house now is no longer going to be a two-bed house. It's a 3-bedroom shared house. So instead of it having a living room and 2 bedrooms, now it's got 3 rooms, and everyone that buys one or rents out one of the rooms is gonna pay. He's gonna have access to the same bathroom as everyone else and the kitchen. So you get your one room, access to the kitchen, and access to the bathroom, but you don't get to have the bathroom as you want, and you don't get to use the bathroom as much as you want to use it because somebody else might be in there when you want to be in there. You don't get to have full access to the bathroom or full access to the kitchen like you're supposed to because somebody else is going to want to put their food in the cupboards, man. Somebody else is going to want to put their food in the fridge, so you get one aisle on the fridge. You get one aisle, one row on the fridge, right? So now you're going to have to, where you shop now is going to have to change because you want it to be single ladies, and running around on a madness, right? So then now, the price of what it's going to pay for that one room, and this is what's happening, but people don't, especially you buffoon women, you don't know nothing about this. People that own these houses are turning them into shared houses, and the amount that they would have previously been able to get for that 2-bedroom house or that 3-bedroom house that now becomes a 4-bedroom shared apartment or shared housing or whatever, right? The amount that they would have normally made to get if everyone was in couples and married and stuff like that and together as family units, right? The amount that they would have been able to get for the whole property is now what they're getting for one room. And because one room in a house is normally bigger than another, or the living room is normally bigger than some of the bedrooms, well, now that living room is now not considered a living room, or that's the biggest room in the house, so you've got to pay about £200 more, £300 more, because you've got the bigger room. But then they're paying what they should have actually been paying to live in the whole house. And again, why is Esau able to make a society where it's like this? Because of the sword, right? It's not because of anything else, it's because of the sword. The only reason why people have to accept this is because of the sword right now. Because these things, amortization is wicked. Front-loaded interest is wicked. And when I was really sitting down and thinking about this and asking the AI different questions, I was like, man, this is corrupt. And I understood even more why Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18 is going to happen. And if you haven't ever looked up front-loaded interest, I believe that's the term, front-loaded interest or amortization, look it up and you will be disgusted. And you will understand that this guy is a mathematical demon. Right? It's a scam. And when you go back to the 2008 crisis and all that, that's part of the things that was taking place. Variable interest mortgages changes and that. So okay, you want to buy this? Let me move another scenario. Let's say somebody's living in a 2-bedroom house, a 3-bedroom house, and they're paying £500 a month for it. Well, at that time, Issa was like, okay, so you're paying £500 to live in this 3-bedroom house, but there's a 6-bedroom house down the road or a bit further out, and you can pay £500 a month on a mortgage for that house. But what the people that joined up onto these mortgages didn't understand is that it's £500 a month, and the mortgage would have been, let's say the mortgage is going to be 30 years, and the first thing that person, that when they would have been telling these people about these loans, is that yeah, it's £500 a month, and it's a 30-year loan. So the person that was living in a 3-bedroom house is going to be like, okay, I can manage to pay £500 a month, and then I live in this 3-bedroom house. That's right. That's cool. I'll do that. That's fine, right? Not knowing that it's £500 a month for a first couple of years, but after that it goes up substantially because it's a 30-year loan. So if the loan would have been spread across as a fixed rate, it would have been maybe 2,000 every single month. Let's say it might have been 3,000 every single month, but because you was paying 500 less for the first couple of years, well, now when it goes up, it's going to be the 500 plus what it would have been for the fixed. So they might end up paying 3,000, 2,500, and these are the things that Esau's did, and he's been able to get away with it, like I've been saying, because of the sword. And that's why when you understand things like this and you actually see that people boast about having houses and having this and having that, you're like, mate, but really, like, obviously, fair enough if you end up being able to in this society able to own a house. I'm not hating. Fair enough. It was the only way you could do it in this society anyway. But it's corrupt though. And you technically do not own the house until you fully pay the whole thing off in a real way, not in no fake, oh, I've bought no, you haven't, you don't own the property for real until you completely pay it off. You might get some of your equity back if you go into foreclosure. You might, but there's certain hidden fees and certain things that Esau will try and do to where he can, if he can, get away with it, not give you back any of the money that you have. And then either way, he's still got his money out of you for the interest. So he don't really care anyway. And then if he loses on one of the mortgages that he pulled out, well, he might win on another one because the other person ends up paying for the whole thing. So he'll win. He might lose if one person's not able to do it, and they don't even pay him back more interest than what they gave for the deposit and all that. But he'll win on another space when another person did it elsewhere. And that's what was happening in 2008. Or that's one of the things that was happening in 2008, because this was happening a million times over. And then you had millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of people that was not able to pay off. So then there was loads of people having to cancel their things, man. And then the housing prices went down. But obviously that was a planned thing by Esau. And it was making algorithms in maths to get people to do these things. It was hiring skilled mathematicians to come up with things like this. Just like how Joseph, our forefather, through his dream that he had, used the famine that was going to take place to get Pharaoh wealth. Right? Like this society, man, when you actually really look at all the things that they do here, it's sickening. And before believing in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, I wouldn't have cared to know any of these things, man. I wouldn't have cared to know any of these things, but wouldn't have really looked at the intricacies of this thing. But that mortgage thing is a demon, you know. And I believe that elders and brothers and apostles say that mortgage means death note. And I understand why. I understand why mortgage actually would mean death note, man. Because it is a contract of death, basically. Because if you pay off, okay, congratulations. For the last 30 years, you've been paying for this same thing. And okay, let's say you was able to get that property and then you were able to get people living in there and you're able to make them pay off what you were supposed to pay through having tenants. Okay, that's cool. You kind of finesse the system a little bit then. But most people don't do that. They live in the house while they're paying it off. That's how it goes for most people. But let me carry on. Verse 10. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Warn to them that decree unrighteous decrees, that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless, and that's what they've even did to these women, man. Like, I'm finding it quite funny right now that Eve's going through catching hell, and that these women are catching hell from all of these like different benefit things that they was given. But the only reason why I'm finding it funny is because when they was receiving this free money, they didn't ever think it was going to come to an end. They didn't be like, you know what, let me save some of it up and see if I can do something with it. Because, oh, I'm getting all this extra money right now that I don't, and I'm not using it. You know, let me store some of it up and see if I can use some of it to get on a course and do this or do that, and actually then take myself out of this situation where this government really just wants me to be in a pit to where I'm alone by myself as a woman and just looking at men sideways. Let me actually use some wisdom and know that they're doing that. Let me not say they tricked us, y'all, and then just try and expect. No, let me say they're trying to trick me, y'all. And I'm gonna use this situation that they tried to set me up in to hate men. I'm gonna use it to actually win. And I'm not gonna allow them to use this situation to make me hate the men. No, these women get proud with it. These women actually thought that they were better than men because they was getting money for free. But the men weren't getting money for free though. So it's easy to try and tell men that they're bums when you're getting money for free for doing nothing. You're getting money for free for giving birth. Okay, that man, every time that you women have a child, a man's got a child as well. But where's his free money? So if he was getting free money and was looking at you like you're a bum now, are you a bum now? It's easy to call someone a bum when you're living life from free mode. It's easy to get on your high horse then, isn't it? And try and treat people like they ain't nothing. When you're getting things for free, anyone can talk a good game then. And that's how you women did it. Well, now you women are going to catch hell because of your pride for that. But Esau set you up into that position. Because he gave you these women these things for free, right? And he never warned you that, you know what, I can change the rules. He kept you like that. And he knew the psychology of you women, right? And he knew that you women are going to be like, you know what, I'm going to have 12 baby daddies, man. And the 12th one, y'all, he just be doing too much, y'all. He knew y'all were like that. So he tricked you, because now when you women that are in the situation try and come towards men, the men ain't gonna want to know. And all you beautiful women out there, you fine ass women out there, right? And that you look good, but you're a demon inside, you're gonna catch a bad one as well, because you was living it up. When you went to the club, you was basically like a celebrity in there because you looked nice, you was beautiful to look at, right? But here's the thing. Most of the women in this world that are the most beautiful to look at are the biggest demons. Just like how for you women, most of the men that are handsome, got riches and money, all these things, they're going to be the men that are going to give you the hardest time. You ain't going to be able to really get what you want out of those men. You ain't going to be able to. Those men are going to ruin your life. Just like how those beautiful women ruin men's lives. But these are all tricks that Esau did. Esau knew that what he was doing when he did these things, man. He turned aside the needy from judgment, took away the right from the poor of Yahweh's people, that widows may be their prey. Women, man, he made these women pray. Because these, man, when I really think about women, man, and like about how I remember this video that's recently going on with the brother that defended himself against that filthy mouthed Edomite that was still talking reckless after he got them. Yo, I think that brother broke that Edomite's nose, man. Because when I heard that sound of them shots, I heard crunching. I heard, and if he did break his nose, good, man. But that demon was still talking reckless afterwards. So he obviously didn't get hit hard enough, if you ask me. But anyway, when that took place, right, that man was able to defend himself, right? But a woman in that scenario wouldn't have been able to defend herself, and she might have got taken advantage of in that scenario, even though the gun wasn't even real. Because in that scenario, the brother said that the gun wasn't real, right? It wasn't even loaded, it wasn't nothing. But the spirit was on him to defend himself. Women can't really do that. And then the Apostle Tahar said, and one of the elders was going into the whole MMA thing, right? Oh, learn a bit of jiu-jitsu, learn a bit of this and learn a bit of that. And here's the thing, a man that knows jiu-jitsu, right, might not always be able to even overcome a man that doesn't know none of that stuff. There's certain men out there in this world that somebody try and roll upon him with boxing, somebody try and roll upon him with kickboxing, somebody try and roll upon him with jiu-jitsu, and they're still going to get washed because that person just been given strength gifts that overcome all of that stuff. And he's just got a natural level of aggression where he'll somehow, through male aggression, overcome black belts of judo. Now, that's rare, but yeah, it still exists. A man with a brick in his hand versus a man that's got some jiu-jitsu, well, who knows how that's going to go. A woman with a brick in her hand against a man that knows jiu-jitsu, the woman's getting washed. And then I was watching some videos of men when men fight back and all that. I was thinking, man, these women really do not know the difference in strength levels between them and men. And part of the reason why these women don't know how different the strength is between them and men is because a lot of them are fat these days. So women that are fat in this world that are walking around, right? They're fat as hell and they're walking around, right? But they actually are the same size as men when they walk past the men. When they walk past certain men, they look the same size as them or they look bigger because they're heavier. So in their mind, they think it's like how it is when they're walking past women that are bigger than them. They think, oh, I'm a woman and I'm 5'5" and I'm 200 pounds. And when I walk past women that are 5'5" and 120, 140, I know I'm stronger than them, and I'll just lean my weight on them and I can bully them women and do this and do that. And they think that that's how it works with men. So they might walk past a man that's 5'7", 150, 160, and they'll think they can try him. Mate, that man would spin you out your shoes, man. That man could pick you up and body slam your ass, man. Hit your ass with an F5 if he needed to. But you may not understand that because that same 5'7" man could take on a man that's 6 foot, 200 pounds. Never mind your fat, flabby 200 pounds. He could take on a man that's 200 pounds with about 15% body fat and muscles. Trust me, he could. He could do it. So a lot of you women have become arrogant and you don't even understand. You don't understand the basics of fighting. You punch and don't even land with the knuckle parts of the hand. You try and go for the hair. You don't know about lateral movement on fighting. You don't know, okay, this person's coming front to the front, right? So all you have to do to get rid of all of that aggression that they're moving straight forward is step to either side. And depending on that person's stance, step to the side of either shoulder, and now you're in a safe position. And that's just the basics of standing. Never mind all the crazy stuff that people do when they're on the floor in judo, grabbing their collar, grabbing their sleeve and all this stuff that I don't even know nothing about. And I've looked up a little bit of it, but I ain't never did none of it. But the people are grabbing your sleeve, they're grabbing your collar, they do a few twists and turns. The next thing you know, your carotid artery squeezed off and you're unconscious, legs shaking all over the place, man. Through. You women don't know nothing about that. You women don't know nothing about having an actual fight. Not really. Y'all don't know anything about that, man. Y'all know about backbiting and tail bearing, trying to ruin someone's reputation, and then you cry and then you make up with each other afterwards and become the fake best of friends. Y'all don't know anything about this kind of stuff. But when all hell breaks loose, you got to be made to know. Some of you women are going to arrogantly think you're going to try and make demands out of men. Give me some of that food. You're not going to say, can I have some? You're going to talk about some, give me some of that. And you're going to end up realizing, man, you should have kept your mouth shut. Now, a lot of you don't believe this is going to happen because you've never seen it before. Just like how a lot of women didn't believe that them benefits and things that they was going to get given, that free money, was going to ever be taken away. But it's happening though. And good, because you women use that money to try and make it like you actually earned it. You didn't treat that as, oh, this is some free money that I'm getting right now, and eventually I'm going to have to stop having it. So let me try and put things in place to try and think of a way that I can try and make the similar amount or a little bit less in the future of my own hands. You thought, man, I'm going to just keep getting this. And you know what? I'm going to get up the duff another time and pop another babby out, right? Another sprog out, and I'm going to do it again. And it's a racket. And y'all got proud and looked at men like they ain't this and they ain't that when you never earned any of the money that you're spending and didn't humble yourself and feel like, you know what? I'm glad that the society is like this. No, you was like, I deserve this. That's how you was arrogant about it, man. Thinking you deserve it, man. But then at the same time, this is Esau's tricks. He tricked you all. And yet, Here's the thing though, you didn't need much convincing to be tricked. You didn't care, it didn't take you much to be like this. So we ain't gonna care when we see you catching hell, man. And I heard one of the elders say, I hope that I'm made to become heartless, to turn my face away from when these women try and start crying towards me. And I hope that I'm like that as well, man. I hope that I'm able to see these women that, oh, they're all pretty and that. You can tell that they're pretty and they're crying in front of you, fake humble. Please, mister. And you just be like, nah, back up out my face, man. Move, man. Get away from me. Some men in that time might just outrun women. They might see that a woman's following them from behind, from far away, trying to find out where their safe point is. And they might just start sprinting away from him and marathon running and that. And the woman can't keep up. A lot of women don't actually understand what's coming, man. They don't understand. The first time that a woman, that's because when it first goes down, some of these women are going to still be arrogant. Like even now, some of these women are still arrogant. They're talking about, I'm ready. Come on, Mr. 50-50. I'm ready now to go 50-50 on the bills. Right? But now that man's not ready to go 50-50 with you. Now he's like, you know what? Nah. Because all I want from you now is what I know you're only worth. So what's the cheeks price? And then some of these women are going to initially, when it starts really going bad, they're going to start selling that thing, right? Selling that thing between their legs. And initially, they might be able to get a high price, but then other women are going to start going like that. And then the price is going to go down. So what people would have been prepared to spend 200 on maybe, now they're paying 20 pounds, man. And the woman's going to accept the price too. You women don't actually understand how, because of you trusting in Esau, you screwed yourself over, man, and you're going to be humbled. You're going to be humbled, man. Now, back on these Edomites, because they made these decrees and these laws to be able to steal people's lands, but then they're crying about people coming over to their country. But here's the thing, you brought them there. So you're crying about people coming over, but you brought them there though. Because if you hadn't destroyed these people's countries and made laws to steal their land, like I gave with the analogy of if you've got all the comforts in your area, right? You ain't gonna go outward. Like I used to enjoy going to the cinema a lot before in the past, like decades ago. I used to really like going to the cinema. That was a pastime or a thing that I used to do. Nowadays, mate, if your TV's big enough, if you've got a TV that's like above 40 inches maybe, mate, you'll wait. You'll be like, okay, that movie, yeah, I could go and watch it. But you know what? There's plenty of other movies, and I'll just wait for it to be on Amazon, where I can buy the movie for £15 or whatever. Now, if I want to pause it, I can pause it whenever I want to. Right? I've got 24 hours to watch the movie, and 48 hours to watch the movie. I can pause it. I can go and boil the kettle, drink some herbal tea or something like. I can go and pause it and go and make some food. I don't need to now watch it in a room. What does the Apostle to her say? A dark room filled with demons. You know what I mean? Now you don't need to go in a dark room filled with demons to watch the movie, man. Now you can just watch it in the comfort of your house, sitting down on your sofa or whatever, and in comfort. Now, I'm not saying no one's wicked if they go to the cinema, because obviously you're not. That's obviously not true. But me personally, I don't care about going to the cinema with no more, even though I used to in the past really enjoy that. Now I see it's better to just do it in your house. So the same thing with people in their countries. If their country had all the things that the UK has, right, they would stay there. But the UK and in places like America made sure that these people didn't have it in their own house and in their own country. Let's get this, man. They made sure that the people didn't have these things in their own countries. They stole the people's resources out. And then they complain now when the people come to their country now to get to where the resources were taken to. Or the UK stole a country in Africa somewhere's resources, a country in Asia somewhere's resources, and brought them to the UK. And now you're complaining that the people that's resources you stole to use in the UK are coming over to get the use out of their resources? How dare you? They're coming over there to use their resources that you stole from them. Had you not stolen them, they would have been using them in their country. Just like how with the analogy, if you can get all the best things in your local area, you're gonna use it there. You ain't gonna travel out bare far. If somebody lived right near the Shard, for example, and they like going to nice restaurants, right? If the Shard's in their area, they're gonna go and eat from there. From there. If all the most elaborate restaurants in someone's local area, they ain't gonna be traveling out to another area bare far away to go and get that 5-star meal. They'll get it where they live. They'd only travel out to get that golden star meals if they need to. Or you want to have life where you're not living in a place where things are dropping from the sky and exploding every day. Well, okay, you're going to have to go to the UK then. Because the UK's the part of the reason why people are dropping things from the sky and making things turn into fire. But they are making sure that that's not happening in their country. So you want to feel safe? Okay, you got to go to their country then, where you can keep an eye on them. Because they ain't going to drop it over on their own country. So you've got to go to there now. And then now the people in the UK will complain and cry, oh, they're stealing it. Mate, no. They're doing what you did. Because if they're stealing, then okay, maybe you were stealing as well. But y'all don't want to say that though, dear. Y'all don't want to be like, nah, we stole it. But no, you don't want to admit that, huh? Because you're demons, right? And they even try and copy that. We say that as well, that we call people demons, man. They copy everything we do. Micah chapter, apart from the right stuff that we try and do. Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and were even upon their beds, when in the morning is like they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. That's part of the things like amortization, front-loaded interest that I mentioned. That's evil. That's a devised iniquity, man. That's corrupt as hell. Amortization is. And they covet fields. Oh, that country's got some nice resources. How can we get that? Oh, let's say that we're taking this land for Christ. Let's say that this is actually a Christian and that we're bringing Christianity and that these people are pagans. Let's say that these people are savages because we don't understand their language. These are the things that you Edomites have did across the earth, man. The corrupt works and the corrupt deeds of you Edomites. This is your history, man. This is your legacy. You made laws and justifications to steal from people. And they covet fields and take them by violence. Oh, this land belongs to Christ. The person don't know what the hell you're talking about. No, this is our land. We've been living here forever. Oh, well, now it belongs to Christ. And if you don't accept that, we're going to unalive you all. And then they unalive them. And then they feel, oh, yes, see, I knew that this land belonged to Christ. When really they don't care about no Christ, because that's not nothing to do with the Lord anyway. His name's Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, right? Of the tribe of Judah, from the house and lineage of David. But they'll say that they're feeling justified by that, but really all they did was what they always do, which is let their strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Was that right or wrong to do? Well, if it was wrong to do, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So my strength is the justice. I was able to do it, therefore it was just. If I wasn't able to do it, right, if it was truly unjust what I did, I wouldn't have been able to do it. That's how they think. And guess what? That's what women think. Oh, my work husband, I'm going to let him smash the cheeks in. If it was wrong, it wouldn't have felt right when I did it. I'm going to tell this man that child's his, and I'm going to make him raise it for 18 years. And now I don't want to be with him no more after he's paid up that child and that child's gone and flew the nest. Now I'm going to tell him and confess, and I'm going to run to the government and they're going to still give me the house. If that was wrong to do, I wouldn't have been justified and the law wouldn't have allowed me to do it. Obviously it was right because the law said it was right. If I was truly wrong, I wouldn't be living in the house then, right? They would have gave the house to him, but they didn't give the house to him. So obviously it was right what I did. That's how women and Esau are exactly the same. Both corrupt. Both corrupt as all hell, man. Corrupt. Right? Really, truly, they are corrupt, man. Let's carry on. And take them by violence and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. And then when that same man decides to move to your country now, you want to complain? But you've oppressed him in his own land. Right? You've oppressed him in his land, and now he moves to your land. And now you're trying to make out like you're oppressed, but you're not acknowledging that you went over to his land initially and oppressed him. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall you go haughtily, for the time is evil. In that day shall one take up a parable against you and lament with a doleful lamentation and say, we be utterly spoiled. He have changed the portion of our people. So when Esau is going to start coming to some of these immigrants and say, what are you doing here, mate? Get out, mate. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Some of them heathens are going to start breaking down the history and be like, you did this and you did that. So don't start getting on your high horse, running your mouth. Because what did you do? What did you do to make us be in this situation? What's your part? What part did you play in this? So you're running your mouth trying to make it like I'm just a scumbag that's stealing all of this. But what did you do? If we go to my country, have you got any company set up? And then you'll say, oh, but we've got technology. But we gave you technology. Okay, then. So you gave technology. So if we then, if any other creeper in this earth decide to brutalize and absolutely smash to pieces your nation, but we give you greater technology than what you started with, is that justified and is that okay? So if we just start going upside people's heads, destroying up the whole world, but then everyone now is flying around after people that remain afterwards are flying around with jetpacks, like the jet and living like the Jetsons now. They got hovercrafts and all that. Okay, is it justified all the stuff that we did to you now then? Would you feel justified on that? Would you feel civilized? If you went into hundreds of years of captivity, but afterwards now you've got a hologram computer on your wrist and a jetpack and you can fly, would that be okay then? And I guarantee you I would say no, as if you're the one that it's happening to, but you'd say yes if you're the oppressor that leaves people with jetpacks and hologram computers on their wrists afterwards. Because you're scumbags, man, and you can never see anyone else's humanity, but then they always want people to see yours. I saw a video the other day of an ICE agent getting pulled over for a DUI, and the nerve of this guy to be saying, come on, man, I'm with my kids. Come on, guys, are we really doing this right now? Are we really doing it? And I'm thinking, hang on, how many times do you do things to people like that though? How often do you remove people away from their family? How often do you not give people a chance? And when that person might be saying, come on, man, I'm a US citizen, you ain't believing, you just don't care. And this guy was all crying, talking about I'm going through a divorce right now, man. Come on, man. Wanting mercy, but I wonder how much mercy he gives when he's on duty. Damn demon. He have changed the portion of our people. However, he removed it from me, turning away. He have divided our fields, stolen our whole land, man. And that's why you've got this guy like Robinson going over to Israel, asking them what they think about the UK. Why the hell do you care what they think about the UK? That's not even their country according to what you believe. They should really be going back to Israel anyway. So why are you asking the people in another country about the UK for? Why? Because they are the same people as you and you know it. And it's really not about immigration, which is the point of what this video was about originally. It's really not about immigration. It's about trying to hype up Esau to try and hate everyone with brown skin, which they don't need convincing about that. They hate us anyway, and we already know that. But when you eventually go through with your plans to try and come for the children of Israel, you're gonna find out the hard way that you should have just relaxed yourself. You're gonna catch a bad one in that time, man. But y'all don't believe it because you're wicked. Your wickedness has blinded you. Wickedness has blinded you, man. Now let me get this. Because Esau complains and cries about all this immigration, but they're in everyone else's country. Why the hell is Tommy Robinson in Israel talking about Britain? Why the hell do you care what they've got to say? Why do you care? Right? You should be worrying about your own country. And then why the hell is it that they'll have some people that come from, like some people that might be from South Africa coming over to London talking about immigration, mate? You aren't even originally from South Africa. Yeah, you're running your mouth. How did you get South Africa? Yet you're running your mouth, man. Why are you in someone else? Why don't you stay in your country? But the reason why they feel bold to travel to these other countries and try and question people and why they're doing there is because they think, well, I'm a so-called white man. I'm supposed to be everywhere. You can't tell me where to not be. And you want to know why you can't tell me not to be, where to not be? Because of this sword that I've got. And then you've got these YouTubers that do this kind of content, and they always make sure that they walk around with security because they know that they're assholes. But one of the days these people are going to meet, they're going to stumble upon some person that they think is just a regular civilian, and that person's going to be trained like how their security's trained, and the security guard's going to get washed, and the YouTuber's going to get washed out too, man. Watch. That's going to start happening, man. I think that that's going to happen. And even if it don't, but I think it will, even if it don't, right? Yeah, Howard's got something for these people anyway. He's got a lot planned for these people, man. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home. So he's telling everyone else, go back to where they're from. But he's the main one that's always been traveling to everyone else's spaces. The scumbags, man. They're the main one traveling to where everyone else is from. Putting cameras in people's faces, recording them. But then when a civilian's like, okay, that's how you want to play it? Well, now I'm going to record you, and I'm going to follow you around with the camera. And if you react to the camera, I'm going to say, well, if you should just ignore it, mate. And then you don't want to accept that though, dear. When it happens to you, when the shoe's on the other foot, you don't want to accept it. Because you're hypocrites, man. He's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as deaf, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Like the nerve, they heap everyone unto them. They make these melting pots, and then they complain, and they're basically like, okay, be a little immigrant, and make me curry when I want curry. Be a little immigrant, and give me a Chinese massage when I want a Chinese massage. I want my feet rubbed. I want my wife's nails done. Right? Be a little immigrant and dance for me and make records and music tracks so I can shake my bum when I want to go to the nightclub. I want something nice to boogie to when I go to the nightclub with my whack ass stiff dance moves. So become a rapper, become a musician. But then the moment I start seeing that your life's actually getting better than mine because I've gave you this little industry and this little part position that now you've actually been able to turn into something. Oh, now I'm going to start complaining because you're able to use this thing that I wanted to you to do to entertain me. Now you're able to actually do it to make your life better. Oh, now I'm just going to laugh. Now I'm going to cry and complain and try and say, get them out, mate. The nerve of these people, man. The nerve of these people to come from another country to another one and then start worrying about what are you doing over it? What are you doing over places? If it's about all these immigrants, well, why did you ever go over to anyone's country ever then? Why did you ever go to anyone's country yourself, man? Why did you go to other people's country? What was you doing there? But they don't want to acknowledge the true truth of the whole thing. They want to just complain and moan their mouth. But they don't want to really look at the whole entire picture. On the whole hundreds of years of history of what they've did of robbing and stealing from people. If you steal most of the world's goods from across the world, right? If you steal most of the world's goods from one place, right? And then bring them to one, let me say it like this. If you steal most of the world's riches and bring them to like maybe 20 places in the world, right? Instead of it being spread across the whole earth. Well, of course, humans are going to now naturally travel to those places. Like, what are you talking about? Of course, humans, what do you think humans are going to do? Just starve to death? The children of Israel didn't do that. There was a famine everywhere else. So the children of Israel went where? They went to Egypt where there was no famine. Right? That's what they did. Like, you think people are going to just starve to death? Oh, there's no food in my land and everything in my land's been destroyed. So you know what now? I'm just going to starve to death here. Obviously not. Obviously they're going to travel and go to other places. Obviously. And that's what you Edomites did. So what are you complaining about? If it's wrong when all these immigrants are doing it, yeah, well then guess what then? It's fucking wrong when you did it too. If it was wrong when they did it, then it was wrong when you did it. But that's what y'all don't want to do. Y'all don't want to acknowledge that part. You want to try and just make it like you're some good people. No, you're not, man. You're a bunch of hypocritical pricks. that don't want to really focus on the whole thing. You want to talk about black fatigue, but what made them be like that? And okay, if the reason why they do all of these crimes and criminal things is because their mother wasn't around, their father wasn't around, whatever you want to say, because of the music, because of this, because of that, because of their skin color, because they're just inherently wicked. Okay, let's say that's true. What's the reason why you do all of your wickedness? If it's 13% does 13% things, blah, 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 whatever you want to say, okay, what percentage is it of your people that do things? How comes you know the percentages and the stats of another group of people, but you don't know your own stats? How comes you don't know your own statistics on your people, man? How does that make any sense? How comes you don't know what your people have did wrong? Why don't you know? How comes you know all the deep intricacies of another group of people, but when it comes to your people, you don't know nothing? How does that make any sense, man? How does that even make any sense whatsoever? Why don't you know what your people have did? How come you was unable to take the beam out your own eye? Huh? You just could see all the dirt and the crust in our eye. Oh, they're. You see what's wrong with black people? They're just fighting against each other all the time, and white people ain't fighting against each other all the time? Are you serious? World War One, World War Two, Russia and Ukraine, right versus left. Don't try it, bruh. Y'all are fighting against each other all the time. Mr. CK, he got smoked. Who did that? Because I know it didn't look like Wesley Snipes that did it. The person that did it didn't look like Shaft. So what are you talking about, man? What are you on about? You jokers. Verse 6. But then when you get told these things, you just, oh, man, you got a chip on your shoulder. No, you Edomites have got a chip on your shoulder. The reason why you're telling someone to get them out, mate, is because you ain't skilled enough to be able to compete with them there. Because if you was able to compete with them there, you wouldn't be complaining. If you had a nice life with them there, then you wouldn't be able to, if you was actually better than them like you think you are, right? It wouldn't matter whether they're there or not, because you'll be just better than them, because you're high IQ, remember? So it wouldn't matter whether they're there. But the reason why you want them out is because you can't compete with them. That's why. Whereas if you was really superiorly IQ than them and all that, right? Well, then you'd just win anyway, wouldn't you? You'd win whether they're there or not, wouldn't you? Right? And then y'all want to pretend like y'all Christians and that. This so-called Jesus Christ that you people claim to believe in, you know he's not British, right? You know he's not British, and he's actually a so-called black man, but y'all don't want to acknowledge that. It's clearly written in the scriptures what he looks like, but y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all don't want to talk about that. And then all you people that claim to be Christians, you're weeping and wailing over the UK and all this, right? Have you read the Bible? It's supposed to be about the kingdom of heaven. You're supposed to be expecting the kingdom that the Messiah, that Daniel prophesied about, right? Where he said that, but this kingdom is going to break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. So if you're really a Christian, you know that's talking about the UK, right? The UK is going to be one of the kingdoms that is going to break in pieces and consume. America is one of the kingdoms that is going to break in pieces and consume. France is one of them. Sweden, all of these different countries, man. But y'all don't want to talk about that though, because y'all are lost and y'all ain't real. Y'all don't really believe in the Lord. Y'all are on some BS, man. Y'all are jokers. Shall not these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, want him that increases that which is not his? How long unto him that ladeth himself with thick clay? All that debt that y'all have got, man. And y'all heathens, y'all Edomites are going to really find out, man. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all of them of the people shall spoil thee. Because of men's blood and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth with evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil, because that's what y'all did. You're coveting after everything, and you're hoping that you're going to be able to, through military might, escape the judgment that you deserve for all the wickedness that you've did over the years, and you're not going to escape it. You're going to have to pay the price for your wickedness. You're going to have to pay the price. You're not going to get to, oh, I don't have to pay for this. No, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to be made to pay for what you've did wickedly. Whereas your arrogance made you think that you're not going to, oh, I've got the blessing of the sword. I'm never going to have to pay for anything wicked that I've did. Oh, you think so? We're going to see, right? Oh, I'm never going to have to pay for anything wicked that I've did in my life because I've got the sword blessing. Okay. Keep telling yourself that, man. Verse 12, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity. That's America. America's established by iniquity and by blood. And yet they try and make out like it was established by high IQ. But then let's just say that the way our America was established is good. Okay, so if somebody else comes through and decides to do the same build America plan, build America technique in your country now, well then don't complain because you didn't complain when America was built that way. It was okay for America to build their country through rape, robbery, and murder, right? Rape, robbery, and murder. So okay now, it's okay for anybody else to do that then, because you are high IQ, right? So if somebody else decides to do the same thing through what they now perceive as copying the high IQ people's techniques, well then that's okay then, isn't it? They're gonna now use their high IQ and get your country that way how you got their country. Or do you accept that as being good? No, but then you're a hypocrite and a demon. Simple as that. Simple as that, man. Simple as that. Woe to him that giveth his neighbour to drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and maketh him drunk also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. And one of the things that Esau does is the evil spirits that he's bowed down to, that allow him, that give him the ideas for these corrupt things, corrupt stuff that he does, right? He then, when anybody else wants some of his riches that he's got because of the kingdom that Yahweh gave him for now, he makes everybody else have to bow down to the same spirits that he's bowed down to. But really, people are not supposed to do those things. And he does that to try and be like, see, I'm justified. I'm justified in all the wickedness that I did. I'm justified in all that wickedness that I did because these people are copying what I've did to get my riches. So I'm obviously a good person that did all of this stuff. I'm obviously okay. I'm obviously righteous for doing all that wickedness that I did because everybody else copies it as well. And they'll feel justified, man. They'll feel like they're a good, all you YouTubers that make all that kind of content, man. You feel like you're a good person because, oh, I'm allowed to record in public. And if you just didn't react to the camera, then why are you reacting to the camera for, mate? Anyway, okay. But wait till there comes a time when either you're not allowed to record in public no more, or somebody starts following you around with a camera, or following around someone that you know with a camera on a time when you're not recording content and now you're in the street minding your business and someone wants to record you. What are you going to say then? What are you going to say? What are you going to say, man? And I'm going to end the video there, man. You heathen Edomites have really got a lot coming your way and you're not prepared to pay the price, right? You complain about all this immigration stuff, but you're the people that made it like this. People are coming to these countries because most of the world's goods have been stolen and brought to a few choice places on earth. So of course people are going to go to them places. Of course. But anyway, Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. Shalom.